Yo, what's up guys, Bowler here. The Super Smash Bros. 2 ARG has been solved. In fact, it was solved only 12 hours after my video. The community went crazy solving this mystery. And no, despite what the comments were saying, it wasn't written in Minecraft enchantment table, and no, it did not lead to a Rickroll. But in fact, it led to something that I actually predicted, which is a massive teaser for a reveal. To catch some of you up to speed if you didn't watch my last video, basically in the new update that came out last week, the developers for SSF2 added a new game mode, being Race to the Finish, which is basically an obstacle course speedrun mode where you guessed it, race to the finish. Somehow though, some players accidentally found that there was a secret added to this game mode. If you go to this random part of the map, wait 20 seconds, a secret door will open which will reveal this coded message. And I'm happy to announce, through the efforts of tons of players coming together, using our combined 4 brain cells, we have solved the puzzle. And it is actually so sick how they solved it. So let me break it down quickly and simply so you can understand. So here's what we got. While we didn't know what the message was, we were pretty certain that it was a message in some form of language. And the thing about languages is they always obey rules, or at least they usually do. So players began to look for order in the chaos, and came across 3 main rules. The first rule was characters. The message seemed to be made of multiple different symbols made of dots and dashes, and likely each one represented a letter or a character in some language. And every character in the message was formed on some form of a 3x4 grid. And in total, there were well over 30 unique different characters that almost never repeated in the message. The second rule was word separators. The majority of symbols didn't use the 4 corners of the grid, and those that did use them were always followed by another symbol using the same mirrored corners. And based on the frequency of these being very low, it seemed likely that these were separators between words, much like a space in English. And the third and final rule was the sentence separators. Very rarely, you would find these 2 parallel lines connecting the corners of 2 characters. And given the low frequency and placement within the message, it seemed very likely that these were sentence separators, sort of like periods in English. So using these 3 rules, we knew a lot, but also didn't know anything. We still need to find out what were the meaning behind the characters. The real key to solving this was removing the dashes and just focusing on the dots. Specifically, one player named Jotardo came up with a key that mapped the commonly used part of the grid as 1 through 8. Then, by removing the dashes and just counting up the dots on the 1 through 8 grid, you could tally up the total sum and then use that number as a corresponding placement in the English alphabet. For example, in this character, the total value is 19, which gives us the letter S. It essentially gave us the key to solve the entire puzzle. Before I show you the final revealed message, I want to give a huge shout out to everybody in the community who helped solve the puzzle. It really was a team effort to get to this point, even though Jotardo and Romulus were the final 2 who did solve the puzzle. So anyways, here is the final message in its translated form. An adventure's yet to come, at the edge of the world, a great power, a gate sealed, he lies in wait. An endless sea of inky black and violet, mysterious door to a perplexing domain. Shimmering, translucent cerulean, he comes. Fear the waves. So I know what you're thinking. What the f does that mean? Well, to me and many players, it is as clear as day. This is a teaser for Adventure Mode. Specifically, the line, "An adventure's yet to come." There is no other way to interpret this. This is a teaser for an adventure mode in Super Smash Bros. Adventure mode, story mode, whatever you want to call it, a single player campaign with platforming, enemies, boss fights, and hopefully, story and some cutscenes too. So yeah, I mean, it's some pretty insane news. And the rest of the message actually gives a lot of hints towards what this story mode might actually have in store. A lot of the lines are hinting towards something powerful and mysterious, probably the main villain of the story, like this line. Shimmering, translucent cerulean. Cerulean is a shade of blue, I had to Google that one, and it's pretty clear with the shimmering and translucent that they're definitely making a reference to Taboo from Subspace Emissary. Which is so sick, like the return of Taboo would make for an excellent story or plot for a new Super Smash Bros. Storyline. Maybe the main villains are trying to resurrect Taboo, or maybe Taboo has somehow returned on his own after the events of Brawl. Whatever it is, Taboo is for sure coming to Super Smash Bros. However, there is another notably blue villain on the Super Smash Bros. Side of things, which is the redesign of the main villain of Flash of Shadows being Umbra. And if you don't know already, Flash of Shadows was the original single-player story mode that was planned for Super Smash Flash way back in early development, but was eventually scrapped due to being very difficult to implement. And a few years ago, on April 1st, there was a sort of Flash of Shadows reimagined video that came out with a redesign of their main villain, who was shockingly now a woman, and also,
why are you blue?
And while the blue part lines up with the coded message, I definitely do think since there's multiple references to a male pronoun, this text is referring to, or at least teasing, Taboo. But maybe the two characters are related somehow. I mean, they're both blue, I don't know. Only Gregory himself knows, and maybe Steven. But if Taboo is involved, I'm pretty confident myself this is more than just a melee adventure mode with random platforming, but there will be some sort of a storyline. Which brings me to a little bit of a theory or conspiracy about a few of the other lines in the message. I want to focus on these two lines that stuck out to me, which was the endless sea of black and violet and fear the waves. You know what else has waves? Oceans. And where have I seen a reference to oceans in Super Smash Flash? Wait, not you. Oh yeah! Ocean of Worlds, a concept art for a connected world map of video game worlds created by Steven, one of the lead developers of Super Smash Flash. Okay, wait, pause the hype. I'm not saying 100% that this is a teaser for a Super Smash Flash 2 story mode. It could just be a coincidence, but man, this would make an amazing world map. And the fact that it's referred to as the Ocean of Worlds, and there's multiple references to both the sea and waves inside of this text, it could be more than just a coincidence, I'm just saying. Especially the idea of a sea of black and violet being a metaphor for space or a galaxy just works way too well here in my opinion. That being said, there is a little bit of counter evidence. The paragraph also mentions a great power at the edge of the world. And since there's multiple different planets here, the idea would be more like the edge of the universe or edge of the galaxy rather than a one specific edge of the world. But that's just a minor nitpick that I noticed. It's still very much up in the air, and I personally believe it could definitely be a teaser for a Super Smash Flash story mode. There also were a couple other low-key teasers hinting towards a story mode coming to Super Smash Flash. Specifically, I noticed these World of Light references that were on the new Race to the Finish map, showing off Galeem and Darkin, which I personally think maybe they put in to sort of, tease the idea of a story mode coming to SSF2. So, is Adventure Mode confirmed? Yep, it's coming out tomorrow. I hate giving a definitive answer here, but if I did have to lean towards one way, I would genuinely lean towards yes, it is pretty much confirmed. I will give the devs an out and say it's only like 60 to 70% confirmed. The devs clearly do want to make an adventure mode, there's no denying that. It was their original plan back in the OG days, and who wouldn't want to make something sick like a subspace emissary mode? It's one of the best defining features of Brawl, and beloved by casual Smash fans. The main factor stopping the devs from making an adventure mode or committing to it is the time, effort, and probably just difficulty of pulling it off well. I have no doubt it would be good if they actually did it. The devs have clearly put a lot of time and effort into these updates. I mean, DDD literally took 5 years to come out, but it looks amazing. So if they do end up committing to making a story mode for the game, I'm sure it'll be fantastic. It just might take 20 years to come out. So although the teaser definitely in my mind confirms like 60 to 70% sure that we're getting an adventure mode, I don't think the developers will come out and say that until they are 100% certain that they can deliver on it. Like if it's not already in production, it may be a few years until we actually see anything from the story mode. Anyways, that is all for this video. Shoutouts again to the community for solving the mystery and the devs for putting it in. It was a really cool secret and a fun community event. More videos about 1.4 should be coming out soon. It's the first time I've been uploading pretty consistently in like literally 4 or 5 years. But yeah, you know what? Thanks for watching, and I'm excited to play story mode in 2035.